All right, well, boom. Listen, so this is like, I've been looking forward to this. I can't even lie. I've been looking forward to having a conversation with you, bro. We had, as I said before, we had a conversation, like a little Twitter exchange, whatever. And like, obviously, I've known about you for a minute.
Yeah,
I've known about you for a minute. I got A-Star with me. How are you?
I'm good, man. Good. Yeah. I'm doing well. It's cold.
Proper freezing, bro.
It's cold, bro.
Proper freezing, bro. I don't even know really where to start, bro. As I said, I've been watching you for a little while. I know what you're about. I know what you stand for. Yeah. You know, I see the messages and whatnot, and like you're a very intriguing human being, bro.
Interesting way of putting it.
Yeah, you're a very intriguing, and it comes through in some of the stuff that you do, bro. Because I know you more so as like a grime MC. I don't know if you do much other stuff other than like I heard the hidden track and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like I haven't heard you do anything outside really of grime.
Yeah.
But I know that that's what you do. I know that's your heritage. I know that's where you come from. But you're from East London, right?
From Leytonstone.
Yeah. Born and raised.
That's the hometown.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your come up.
So grew up in typical, if I would say, council estate kind of area. I wasn't officially in a council estate, but that's the kind of area I grew up in. So went to Tom Hood Secondary School in Leytonstone, just a rough school. A lot of peer pressure in the area. Just a regular young black boy from East London. The kind of thought you would think, okay, he's seen this, he's seen that. That's kind of what I grew up around. And
obviously, like the deep heritage of MCs from East London.
Yeah. So I got to see the birth of grime around that. Like, you know, Fuming, he went to my school.
Oh yeah.
So I was at the Power video shooting like
2004.
For real? Yeah. On Fuming's part, the first video though. Remember those two videos?
Oh yeah, there was. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, shit.
So I was at the first one. Where it's just him spitting with man them behind him. I was like, what, 15, 16?
Yeah. Them days are, man, I always think back to them days.
Just carefree days, you know.
I'm telling you, bro.
Us lot were literally just chilling on the corner in the ends, and he was around. He said, yo, man, then video shoot, come. And we just walked down the road.
That's how shooting. It used to, I mean, it still is probably like that. More so with the drill lot.
Yeah,
I could imagine that the drill lot is more so like, you know, man them just filming a video, just roll up, slap the bally on. Do you get what I'm saying? And let's just make it lit and that. But like, yeah, them days it was, because also it was like in that come up, there was no one that people were really looking to for superstardom, like, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Dizzy bust true. Yeah. But like there wasn't really anyone that we were looking at the time like, yeah, like we could be this. Man them was just doing it.
Yeah. I feel like it's more planned now though. As you said about the guys who get together to put on a belly, it's more I feel like there's no fun anymore, bro, if I'm honest. It was just original back in the day, because it was just like, I do music, I'm gonna shoot a video, I'm gonna go in the corner, call my friends and do that. It's way different than
the fun element definitely doesn't seem like it's as strong anymore, obviously. But I say that as someone who's an older buck, innit? I mean, some of the younger lot might feel like differently or whatnot, but
true.
I don't know, even when I speak to some of my cousins and that, it doesn't seem like it's coming from so much of a fun place. But I'll tell you something though, what is sick about with them is that like they have what a lot of the earlier grime guys didn't have, which was that thing of being able to look at this guy or that person and say, yeah, like I'm trying to reach that.
Right.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like these lot can look at some of the biggest artists that we have in Europe are from London or even from their ends.
Yeah.
Forget London, like Birmingham, Manchester. Even remember back then, like growing up and that, like man wasn't really listening to like Birmingham artists like that or Manchester artists like that. Yeah. Now some of the biggest artists in Europe are from there.
Yeah, for real.
Bugsy Malone. Do you get what I'm saying? JK, Mist, like you look at all of these guys. So I feel like now, the difference now is that a lot of the younger lot can look at these guys and say, you know what? I can do that.
Yeah.
I can reach there. I can get there.
And it's very much possible.
Of course, bro. Yeah. Bro, I've been thinking about this as well recently, There's actually so much money in the game now.
Yeah.
You know that? Before, there was none. Or very low, or money that we just couldn't access.
Bruv, you've got 17, 18-year-old drill artists making 4 figures casually. 4 or 5 figures casually, bro.
Regular.
Quick
50 bags for a festival.
For real, bruv.
Bro, I remember when 5 bags for a festival show for certain artists was like, that was like the big what?
Yeah,
like graduated to the 5 bags, bro.
Yeah.
That was the big thing.
Yeah.
Now, you can't even get, some of these guys, you can't even get them to lift a fingernail for 5 bags.
For real.
That's like a joke to some of them.
Bruv. I always remember that Bizzle story of Wireless when he got called up to replace Wiley, and he just said, they said 40 bags. He said double it and I'm there. Then double it and I'm there, bro.
Because they called him on the day, didn't they?
Yeah, on the day, a few hours before, you know.
Imagine that, just a young 80, just
80 bags, just like that. Then we go on, quick 30-minute set.
Yeah.
Do songs that people know and then bounce. 80 bags, bro.
Take that money, go and invest in my country where I come from, man. And that's why I respect. That's why I respect man like that as well, because that's what a lot of them are doing as well. Some of them.
Bizzle's sick at that, man. Like I see, especially around the time of Christmas where everyone went back to Ghana. Yeah, I see him, and every time I do see him, like obviously watching him on Snapchat in Ghana, he's with people like Fuse, and Fuse got a crazy house over there. Fuse ODG, like he's literally done his thing here, and he's just gone to invest back there.
They've got that famous peacock or whatever it is walking around as well, isn't he?
Oh yeah, I saw that one time. But I love the mindset that he's kind of put into the whole Africa thing. Like Africa's not kids with flies on them and starving kids and stuff like that. They proper kind of changed the narrative, which is sick, man.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So yeah, like obviously you were fully in and immersed in like the grime world essentially in it, and then started doing your own thing. But one thing that I noticed is that your angle's just a tiny bit different, in it. Like you're have you always been a youth of faith?
No. I just grew up in Ends and went to, my dad was in jail when I was like from 2. So he went to jail, and then when he came out of jail, he did 5 years. So I was around 7 years old. He started taking me to church here and there. So I always kind of knew. I went to Sunday school, but whenever I'd see him, I'd go. But my mum was an atheist. She wasn't about that at all. So it's literally when I was around my dad that I would go to church. But I didn't grow up around the whole church environment. I literally just was a kid from Ends. No one in my area was of any sort of faith like that, apart from obviously my Muslim friends from school. But that was it. Yeah.
I noticed you got a podcast, right?
Yeah, 525. Yeah, 525. Just started it with 3 of my other married brothers. We talk about.
Are you married?
Young married life. Okay. Yeah. 2.5 years now.
2.5 years, yeah. Go on.
Yeah. So
that's lit.
Yeah, man.
I noticed because I saw on your timeline. We'll talk about marriage in a piece actually, but I saw on your timeline just like a conversation we was having about absent fathers and stuff like that. Yeah. And like talking about the effects that had. But so your dad was absent for 5 years, right? He was, or was he?
So he was in jail. When he came out, I'd see him. But for me, my story with the whole absent father thing was there's a difference between a man being there and a man being in the house. So for me, I didn't have a man in the house. It was just me and my mum. Yeah. So things like driving, skating, swimming, had to fix something in the house. I didn't have a man to learn that from. So most of the things I learned from the Ends from my guys on the road. Yeah. So I felt like there was a big piece missing there, man. I saw him once in a while, and we have a great relationship now. Even with his wife and my mum, they're tight. They got a great relationship, which is, you know, an anomaly. A lot of people look at me sideways when I say that. I'm like, they're cool, they're best friends, they're great. But I didn't have him in the house in order to just keep me close and to tell me real stuff, not just to tell me, but for me to actually see that where there's 2 parents in the house and there's a dad there, and I can actually look up to that and say, I want a marriage like this.
Yeah.
I didn't have that.
It's mad actually because, I didn't. My mum and dad split up when I was super young. Yeah. But I have the same sort of situation as you, where like my mum's married now or whatever. My mum's husband, and my dad and that are proper just crisp, bro. Yeah. Like it's nice to have that. I guess where I was kind of fortunate is that at a young age I had my mum's husband too, so I did still have a man in the house. And it, what you know, like in some weird way, it's been good to watch like how my mum's husband moves and how my dad moves, because then I've been able to like in some way try to get the better parts out of the both of them.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's only now when I look back I start realizing like how important that shit was. At the time, you know, you're just living in it. Like you're just living, and you're not really thinking about like any of these type of things. You know what I mean?
I started clocking when I was seeing my boy who lived 3 doors away with his mum and dad, and they're all close, and he's the smallest thing, like he's play fighting with his dad, and his dad's like, come with me, I'm gonna fix this light bulb, and he's doing it. And now his dad was proper like hands-on. One of my good friends from young, his dad was proper hands-on, and now he's a builder. Like his dad, he took on what his dad was doing basically.
Yeah.
And he's always been passionate about that, but I know that he got that from his dad. So that's something I used to always admire. So I was there all the time, always at my friend's house, because I was like, now I'm clocking that it's because I just wanted that wholeness family feel. Do you know what I'm saying? And I didn't have that at home. So
was you was super close with your mum though?
Yeah, man, close till today, man.
Till today, yeah. Talk to me a little bit about that, like the relationship between you and your mum.
Yeah, she was. I wouldn't say she was kind of strict, but firstly, she was very wary about my health, having sickle cell. Yeah, and she has sickle cell as well.
Right. So
she was very just wary. Always wear you. Be warm, stay warm, make sure you eat and stay hydrated, all of that stuff. Because obviously my growing up, my youth was kind of shaky because I was always in and out of hospital, things like that. So it definitely brought us close. And she's always been someone who's worried and been overly concerned. I've always got to tell her, mum, chill. Like my wife's looking after me now. It's cool.
I'm good still.
Yeah. So I've got to kind of keep the levels. She's probably gonna call me now, like, "Are you okay? What you did?" You know what I'm saying? So
I like that's grown still. My wife's looking after me now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this then, because I had seen a video that a song called Hidden Pain. That's the one, and I've watched it a bunch of times, bro. You know, like sometimes there's things that like pop up on the timeline or whatever, or someone will send you, and like you just go past a bunch of stuff, but then there's like a couple things that just stick. Yeah. And like that, I never spoke to you about it, but that stuck. And one of the reasons why it stuck is because I remember growing up here and having someone who like I'd considered like family. Someone who I'd considered like family at the time. You know, you're growing up and you just like everyone's your cousin, innit? Like, that kind of vibe. But I remember he had sickle cell, and I never knew what it was. And to be honest with you, I'm still unaware of what sickle cell really is. Right. It's only now, I'm starting to like ask more questions, and I've grown up hearing someone's got sickle cell. Okay, I know that there's like that's a thing, but I'm not asking a question because in my mind is not in a place to even fathom what that really is. And when I'm tracing it back, and I want to know what it is and where it's come from and stuff. So just from your perspective, can you tell me like what is sickle cell?
Sickle cell is a hereditary disease. It's a blood disease that affects the red blood cells. So your regular blood cells are round shape, regular red blood cells are round shape, normal round shape. The sickle cells are sickle shapes, so it's kind of like a moon crescent shape kind of thing. And obviously it's your red blood cells that carry oxygen around the body. So if I'm in times of, stress, exhaustion, cold weather, I can fall into what you call a crisis. And that's where you have the sickle cells that clog up against each other, so they can't flow through the blood vessels and carry oxygen around the body well, and they'll start clogging up with each other, which will cause excruciating pain anywhere around your body. Could be legs, arms, chest, anywhere around the body. So this is because it's a hereditary disease. It comes from the parents, so the genotype from the parents. So you can have one parent that's AS, which is like they have the trait, not full blown, or you've got a parent that's got
what does
SS.
AS mean?
AS is like it's genotype basically. It's like a you know, like you got chromosomes and the blood type stuff. Okay. So it's a genotype. So you got A that is completely normal, sickle free, and you got S that's sickle.
Okay.
So that's the trait, and you've got SS, which is full blown sickle cell. So my mum had
AS and SS.
Yeah, AS is the trait. SS is full blown. AA is nothing. You don't have any trait or whatsoever. So my mum has got SS, and my dad's got AS. That wasn't communicated when they came together years ago.
So your mum's got SS and your dad's got AS.
Yes.
So your dad has a trait. Okay.
Yeah, mum's got full blown. That wasn't communicated when they came together. And they had me. And here I am. When you've got someone that's SS and AS, I think there's a 50% to a 75% chance that the child will have sickle cell, whether it's a trait or the full blown.
Okay.
So
and what do you have?
The full blown sickle cell, so SS. So that comes from the parents. So for me, getting married, I had to make sure that the woman I get with has nothing, hasn't got the AS, not even the trait, so that there's no chance whatsoever for my child to have full blown sickle cell. But there's now a 25% chance that they could have the trait because she's AA and I'm SS.
Okay, I'm gonna get to that in a bit. See, like growing up here. See, when you was a kid, at what age did you know, or was it explained to you that you had sickle cell?
To be honest,
did you know from early that there was something that wasn't right?
Yeah, 100%. So as I said in the song, from as young as 5, I've been going in and out of hospital. So from what I can remember, earliest I can remember is 5 years old having a crisis. So I had no clue throughout my whole school years. I was always in and out of school, and when I was in school, there was obviously you're not just allowed to have a drink like that. You got to ask. But for me, there's a bottle of water on the side. And I'm always in hat and gloves, and and it's just, Ali. We just need to be extra careful with Ali Dor because he's got to be looked after, kind of thing. So I knew that I wasn't like other kids when it came to my upbringing, but I just wanted to be like other kids. I wanted to play football, wanted to go bike riding with my friends, but you'll come home from bike riding one day and then your legs are hurting you, and then boom, full blown crisis, gotta go hospital. So that's the kind of upbringing it was.
So like if you like took part in like an activity or something like that, yeah, like literally, if it was like a physical activity or whatever, then after a while it would have a big effect on your body.
So
yeah.
Sometimes it could be that, sometimes it could be fine.
Yeah.
And you just never know with a crisis. That's the thing. Anyone with sickle cell will tell you, you never know. I could be in a warm environment like this, walk outside, go home, crisis. Do you know what I'm saying? It's only when I got older that I knew how to control my body more. With things that I do, being wise about things. Do I really need to do that? No, I don't. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that.
Do you remember your first crisis?
I remember being 5 years old, and what I can remember is I can remember my cousin carrying me to the hospital, and I was in Belgium. That's all I remember. I don't know, for some reason my auntie had a car but it wasn't working or they weren't there. I could just remember being carried to the hospital. Because in Belgium, in Brussels where my family live, we went there every holiday. The hospital was like a 5-10 minute walk from the house. So that's all I remember. Just me being in pain and being carried to hospital. That's one of many times. So yeah.
What exactly happens with a crisis though? Like what is happening to your body?
So as the people always, it's always difficult to explain. It's I would like to say it's pins and needles, but it's much worse than that. Bro, there's been studies that have said that sickle cell crisis is worse than childbirth. Man. And I don't want to be offensive to any woman that's had children, but it's statistics, bro. Like, it's the pain of sickle cell crisis is worse than any other pain you can get. It's just excruciating pain, like big man crying kind of pain. It's just because of your.
Is it like one area of your body?
It could be. It could be. It could start like I'm having pain in one leg, or it could be in both legs, and it could start one leg and it spreads around the body. I've had a chest crisis before where pain, and it's just like a kind of pressing down. It's just like pins and needles, everything in one in your chest. Chest is a very bad place to have it because obviously that's where your lungs are.
Yeah.
But because there's
your heart as well.
Exactly, and because there's lack of blood flow in that area, because the cells are clogging up in that area, it's just bad. I've had crisis in my face. Like 2 years ago, I was married this time as well. I had a crisis in my face, and it was hurting me. Went to the hospital. They said, "Oh, the crisis has hit a nerve in your mouth, and we've got to take out a tooth."
Mad.
Yeah, so they took out a back tooth. My face was swollen. I could show you pictures. At the age of 23, I was getting like a lot of pain in my like hip areas and stuff like that. Went to the hospital. I was like, it just wasn't going. It wasn't crisis pain, but it was just like a stiffness in my hip. I was 23, 24, and they said to me, because of the lack of blood flow in your left hip to the hip bone, there's a ball right in the bone, and it kind of allows you to move your
of course, around.
It's getting stiff. We got to give you a hip replacement. At 24, I'm hearing that, bro. 23, 24. So on my 25th birthday, like a few days after, my birthday's on the 24th of June. On the 29th of June, which was the closest Saturday to my birthday at that time, have a party, and then 2 weeks before that they told me, "Oh, we've just had a cancellation because there was a waiting list for a hip replacement. We've just had a cancellation. Can you come in on the 30th so that on the 1st of July we can give you a hip replacement?" So 29th, celebrating my birthday. Family have come from everywhere because it's my 25th.
Yeah.
And on the 30th, I've got people at my mum's house, and I slowly had to slide out and say, "Oh yeah, just going to an appointment, guys." I was going to hospital, stayed there from the 30th of June. Is there 31st of June? Don't know. Stayed there from the 30th of June.
That's a good question.
And then
I need to know.
It was either 1 or 2 days, and then the 1st of July. I was 25 years old. I had a left hip replacement.
No, there isn't a 31st.
Yeah, so from the 30th, stayed there overnight, and then the 1st of July, I had the hip replacement.
It's a mind fuck though when you have you're sort of scheduled to be in the hospital at a certain time or around a certain time. They tell you, maybe that something might come up in like a month's time or whatever it is. Yeah. And then you get a phone call saying, boom, next week.
It's tomorrow or next week. For me, it was the waiting list was nearly a year for me. So I got told when I was like mid 24 or just hitting 24, sorry. I got told when I was, so the issues happened from like late 23, whole of my 24th, I was having issues with my hip. I was having to use crutches, all of that stuff, and I couldn't sit down like this as I'm sitting down now, putting on my shoes. I couldn't do that. My hip was in pain. Wow. 24/7. So yeah, like a week or two before my 25th. Yeah, we've got a cancellation. So this date, guys, hospital, come in and we can do your operation for you.
Mad. Do you know like the historical, like where it stems from?
That's something I've been thinking about a lot and looking into, because it affects mostly the black and Asian community, but mostly black people. And I haven't proper started researching it, but I'm always thinking, why is it just the black community that it affects? Which means must have started somewhere in Africa.
It has to be, because that's one thing I did know, that sickle cell affects predominantly black people. Yep. Black and Asian, but predominantly black people. And like, I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, but I can't help but think of this is a man-made thing.
100%.
That has like, because when you think about it like this, it's like, if you inject a group of people with something, there's a community of people in it. And in that community, there's going to be relationships. In that relationship, they're going to have children. Yep. The child's going to likely to get it. This child's likely to get it. Then they have children, and then it just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. And then as it keeps going, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Yep. And then, generations or thousands of years down the line, we just know it as a thing. We don't know where it comes from, but we just accept that that's just a thing that's within our community.
That's the mindset that I have, Chucky, when it comes to this. Like, it must have started from somewhere. Whether and that's where the conspiracy theorist in me. I keep these things to myself, or sometimes talk to my wife about it. Like, where did this actually start from? Was it like some colonizer or somewhere that come and injected something in someone, and then boom, it starts from there? Or was it? Yeah, I'm saying that could be very, very naive.
Was it someone of their own tribe?
Exactly. We don't know.
Or it could have been a mistake. It could have. You know what? There's so many different things, because it could have been a mistake. It could have been someone trying a thing with something, and then it's had an effect on, you know, a community of people, and then now we're here. Do you get what I'm saying? But you know, you don't rule out the colonizer stuff, because you always hear about them situations about, you know, people being injected with sexual transmitted diseases and stuff like that, and then they end up spreading the way that they do. But
would you say it's the same way we could look at stuff like HIV and stuff?
Definitely.
Where did that start from?
Where did that? Because that's man-made. That doesn't just formulate within the body. Do you know what I mean? So obviously growing up, like going through school, like how did that? Because if you were like, you're growing up in Leytonstone, obviously you're amongst like fully immersed in the grime culture and that, just doing whatever it is that you're doing, like creating your own thing. Like how, like in your early days, did that affect you making music and stuff like that?
So I never spoke about it as much when I was young. It was just...
Did your man them know?
Yeah, but they didn't know what it was, didn't know what to do about it. Just, Ali, I'm sorry, man, or... one time went to Disneyland with college, and then we're going out, great time, and then come back, boom, have a crisis. My friends there, like, I've come out the shower and I'm in my towel, I'm like, I can't breathe, I'm in pain, I can't breathe. And my friend's like, what the heck is going on? Do you know what I'm saying? He's had to call a teacher. I'm in an ambulance in Paris, bruv. Like, my mum's had to come from London to France to come see me in hospital. Stayed there for weeks. Everyone's gone back. We had to buy a new ticket. All of that. This is the first of many that's happened. Do you know what I'm saying? So when I was around, you know, young teenage, where, you know, there's the whole grime culture popping off, all that stuff, it was just, I just wanted to fit in. I never wanted to be like, feel like I'm different. If I'm honest, a very naive, and it's a bad mindset to have, but in school, it wasn't cool to be special needs or classed as disabled, or because when we used to think about disabled in ends, we think about man in wheelchairs and all of that stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? And now I understand that disability could look like this. A regular man you'll see on road, you're like, bruv, this guy's normal. Or you see him in the gym, you know what I'm saying, running on the treadmill, but you just never know, bruv.
That's probably why I never, like, when I had heard about sickle cell and that, and I know that someone's got it, true, we're playing, and we're just out, or we're just playing. In my head, there's no disability there. So in my head, there's nothing to talk about, because we're still playing, we're still out on the road, we're still just doing whatever it is that we're doing. But you always look at disability as in, as you said, like being in a wheelchair or whatever it may be. The only thing that I knew about, or that was told to me, or that was a thing, was the eye colour. Like having yellow eyes, which has got something to do with the amount of like blood cells and stuff that you have that keep changing. Right?
So when I have a crisis, and when I'm in hospital, you will see that, right, this guy's got yellow eyes. Or, you know, when there's something going on in your body, there'll be random times where eyes will just be more yellow than usual, and that's because of that. So
like when you have a crisis, what can you do to stop it?
Morphine.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, and there's nothing that you could say, okay, I've stopped having the crisis now. It's just this pain.
I mean, the pain to stop.
Yeah, the body naturally stops the crisis, if I could say that.
Okay.
It's just morphine is a pain killer. It's a pain relief, basically. Do you know what I'm saying? So when you have a crisis, okay, boom, ambulance, straight to hospital. For me, usually gas and air, Gassinair is like what they give pregnant women.
Yeah,
It gets you high. So that just calms down nerves for me. I talk to Jesus Bear. You know what I'm saying, bruv? I've seen clouds. I've seen all of that stuff, bruv. Obviously, I'm bantering, but that get to hospital, morphine, which is the biggest painkiller that, you know, known to man. If
people
I'm
get
correct.
addicted to that shit, though.
Exactly. So that's been another thing, because in hospitals, sickle cell patients have been treated so badly by doctors, man, in some hospitals, because they're like, no, you look fine. Someone's told me that. Someone told my wife that one time. I went to a festival, performed, came off stage, crisis. This is in West Sussex, yeah? So it's not a predominantly black area. They don't know about it much. In the ambulance, they're like, we need morphine or Gassinair, something for pain relief. Please, we need it. No, he looks fine. My wife switched, bruv. She said, She started going crazy, because obviously for what they can see, you're screaming and shouting in agony, but there's no sign of any bleeding, there's no cuts or bruises. It's just this guy's in pain and he's asking for more. No, why are we giving him morphine for? Do you know what I'm saying? So naive people that don't know about it, this is why I always say that doctors and nurses everywhere around the whole world, whether you're in a predominantly black area or not, you'll get a random case where there'll be one black guy that's in your area for something, has a crisis. How can there be a whole hospital and you don't know how to deal with that? I had a crisis in Manchester years ago. I had to discharge myself because they didn't know how to treat me. Discharged myself. Mum came from London to Manchester. Discharged myself. Got on the train in pain to London, and then we had to get Mum's friend to come pick us up, bring us to the hospital in London. Do you know what I'm saying? So morphine is the pain relief that kind of gets, you know, calms the pain down. But yeah, that's what I would say. And obviously they give you drips, antibiotics, all that stuff.
So the dynamic in the household though must be nuts, because at any moment you can have a crisis here, and naturally, same way, at any moment your mum can have a crisis then.
Yeah.
So like, I remember seeing on your timeline as well, you was talking about like being in a situation where you was in a hospital and that you had a crisis and your mum had a crisis as well, and then having to leave and go and see her.
Yeah. That's exactly what happened. On more than one occasion. There was, but from what I can remember, the most I can remember is that one occasion where I had a crisis, and I think my mum had a crisis after that, and she's in another ward. At this time we was at Whips Cross, which is in Leytonstone, and I remember maybe early teenage age or just coming up to teenager, leaving my bed with my my drip and the thing that carries the drip, and then leaving the ward, going to her ward to see her.
That's got to be stress, man.
But I don't clock. I didn't clock till it was years down the line. I don't know why, but trauma at a young age is just like, this is what's happening now.
Word.
You don't clock it until later down the line, where you got things like therapy. I'm doing therapy now, and there's just a whole all different doors that are opening. I'm like, oh my days.
Yeah.
They've just been so like embedded in me as natural things that are happening, that I've just seen it as it's the norm.
Wow.
But now that I'm speaking about therapy, I'm like, oh my days. Like, I've nearly lost my life a lot of times because of sickle cell.
Of course.
Do you know what I'm saying? And there's been times where I've been here, my mum's been in hospital. Like, for a young man, I don't even know what that must feel like, bro. But so in the time, it was just
you're
natural.
literally almost getting used to dealing with not just the physical pain, but more importantly and more dangerously, the emotional aspect of pain. Because it's just something that you've been going through since you was 5 years old or even younger. So and your mum's got it. And also it's like you're literally going through pain. Yeah. So if you're getting used to that, and then you're seeing someone else going through it, and you're just getting used to that, you ultimately become desensitized to it. You do. And that's exactly what I became. But anyone with sickle cell will tell you it's not just a physical thing. It does mess with your mental health. Massively. Big time. There's people that don't work because, you know, they're tired of working and you know, constantly telling their bosses, I can't come in today, I'm in hospital. Or, you know, I know people that don't work because of that. It affects your mental health, man. You can't do, you know, what everyone else is doing, or, do you know what I'm saying?
some people are ashamed of it. They don't want to come out. A lot of our parents told us not to talk about it. So that's why a lot of us now in the last 2 years, I've seen a lot of people come out with their stories now. A lot of people come out with their stories. Some people say it was a curse, religious reasons, all of that kind of stuff. But for me, if we're going to raise awareness about something, let's talk about it. Let's just, if black people are going to support each other about a case like this, we have to discuss it. Only 1% of black people in the UK give blood.
Yeah, I want to talk about that actually, but I've just been thinking as well, that's where, in my mind, the sickle cell thing, from a historical point of view, has to be from a place of fuckery. If in the community you're told to not really talk about it,
right?
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that comes from somewhere. That doesn't just exist. People don't just have it and feel like, I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah,
it comes from somewhere. That's like a mental conditioning that then gets passed down to people, and then you just think as people, do you know what? Like that, when you're going through it, like all I know is that this is not really something to talk about. Before we even get onto that 1%, you was talking about with your wife and like being in relationships and that, like understanding that if you had to make sure that they don't even have a trace, otherwise you're going to potentially bring somebody into the world that would have it or whatnot. That naturally must have had a big bearing on like your relationships in the past, no?
Yeah, because go on.
No, go.
It's a very early conversation I would have with girls that I would interact with. Very early conversation, but also you have people carelessly sleeping around, and all of a sudden someone's pregnant, baby comes into the world, baby's got sickle cell.
But you know what it is? The majority of us don't know about AS and SS.
This is why we tell people.
Fam, I don't know if I'm AS or SS.
Bro,
I can't be SS, but I don't know if I'm AS.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Bro, one of my boys from uni messaged me yesterday, and he said, bro, you never guess what? I just found out I had AS. I said, brother, that's not the first case that I've heard, He said, I just found out. I said, how did you find out? He said, my mum knew all this time. She didn't tell me, but I went to get tested because he just had a baby. And with babies now, when the woman's pregnant, you can find out whilst the child's still in the womb if the child's got sickle cell or the trait or anything. You can still find that out. So I think he said something about, I need to read the convo, but he said his mum knew, didn't really tell him, because AS is, you hardly have someone who's got a trait that has crisis. If not, they will never have crisis. Maybe joint pains here and there, but very rarely.
Yeah.
So you could be someone who's got the trait and you just never know. That's why we tell people, go and get your genotype checked out.
How do you do that?
You can type up genotype online, or go to your local GP, ask them, say that I want to blood test where I want to find out my genotype, and find out like that.
It's nuts, I'm gonna keep it so real with you,
Yeah.
So like, I know that as a community, we just don't give blood, innit? Like, there's just a low percentage of us that do it, and I'm going to do it. I'm 100 million% going to do it, But I'd stop myself from doing it for time,
right?
Because the reason why I'd stop myself from doing it is such a selfish reason, But like, in some way, I was scared that if I go and give blood, they're going to tell me I'm madness. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, if I go there now, I'm going to go and do something like out of generosity or whatnot, and then like I give them my blood and that, and then they're going to tell me, bro, it's a bit mad.
Yeah.
So then it's like that thing in my head where it's like, you know what? If I don't know, then I could just keep patterning up and whatever. But that's such a bad mentality to have.
I understand that, and you're not the first person who's told me that, but I would say to you, how quick would you go and get tested for any sexual transmitted disease or anything like that?
How quick would I go if I knew I had it?
Not if I didn't know. If you didn't know. Just to get checked up in general, because for me, when I got engaged, we both said, right, we're going to do it. We know we haven't been...
what, clinic?
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's like.
But if it was for you to go clinic, would you have the same mindset to say, I'm not going clinic because they could tell me I'm madness?
Do you know what? Okay, this is funny actually. There's two things that you said that is funny in my head, because I know that for certain man, if they meet a girl and they say to their girl, like the girl says to them, like, cool, in order for us to move forward in that, we got to go to J Wing, to the clinic. Yeah. That's stressful, man, you know?
Some man are not doing it, bro.
Yeah.
Some man, I'll call you tomorrow, I'll call you next week and let you know.
Yeah, bro, but on the day, man, saying to the girl, you know what, something's happened with my mum. Something's happened. Bro, that leads me to a funny story, actually, yeah? One time, we're getting off topic quick, but I might as well tell this story.
Yeah.
So I'm in, like, this relationship with this girl or whatever, yeah? And, like, one day, she's, like, said to me, she goes to me, I need to go to doctors. So I'm like, yeah? Like, where you go? Like, why? She was like, I just need to go to the doctors or whatever. You should come with me.
This is the girl you're seeing, yeah?
This is the girl I was seeing, yeah. She was my girl.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right, cool. So she's like, yeah, come meet me Oxford Street or whatnot. And like, so I'm thinking, doctors in Oxford Street. She's what? Has she hit the
That's a private thing,
like that? Yeah, it's a private thing. That's mad.
Yeah.
So anyway, now, boom. Like, I've gone and met her and she's with her brethren. Yeah. So anyway, it's me, her and her brethren. We've gone in this place. And as we've gone in there, there's like bare eccentric looking people in there and that. Like, bare alternative looking dons and that in there. Yeah. And I'm thinking, this feels like doesn't feel like a doctor's. Right. Yeah. Anyway, turns out now that we're in a clinic, yeah, and so obviously she's getting the test and that. So I haven't cheated on her, but admittedly, prior to our relationship, I hadn't gone to the clinic before my last thing.
Right.
Yeah. So she's gonna get a test, and her brethren's getting a test, and I'm just here chilling now. So in my head, I like bare things are going through my head because I'm thinking, this is a bit mad. Like, obviously, I ain't been since for a minute or whatever. And she's going right now, and then if they find something, in my head, I'm thinking, how is this thing gonna pan out now? Because if they send you the text, because you know you can choose to get the text.
Yeah.
If they send you the text and you're with your brethren and we're here, whatnot, what and the text is like
it's positive.
Yeah. What happens then?
Yeah.
What are you gonna say in front of your girl? Like what?
What's going on?
Yeah, you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Now I'm vexed, bro, because I'm like, right, it's like you're trying to set man up.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like, anyway, boom, the test came through. She was, you know what I mean? So I knew that. You get what I'm saying? So like that was one way of kind of getting the test to know that, like, through my thing or whatever, which is bad. But now anyway, I know, of course. But yeah, anyway, back to the thing.
Yeah.
To the clinic now, I go to the clinic regular now. But there was a point, bro, where I went to the clinic at a young age, and then they pushed the flipping thing in the penis, the thing, you know, the cotton bud, and they stick it in the thing. Then after that, I was like, I ain't coming back to this. I'm not coming back here again for these man to be sticking this thing in me and all of that.
Yeah.
So that actually put me off. But now I'm way more health conscious. Do you get what I'm saying? So now, if you're saying to me like, would it stop me from going to the clinic if I knew I was going to have something?
And just going one time, you know, it's only one time. It's not a regular thing. You go, you do the blood. It's a blood test, regular blood test. You find out, and that's it. It's not like a regular clinic visit or whatever.
Yeah, of course. Now, of course, I'm going to do it. I just wanted to have more of a conversation about it and stuff like that. And like, regardless of whether me and you would have had this conversation or not, I'm at that stage in my life where I'm like, you know, if something's going to be wrong, I need to fix it anyway. But we just don't. What was the percentage that you said?
1% of black people in the UK give blood.
Why is it so low, do you think?
So, stories I've heard have been 3 different stories. That one of them is what you said. I don't want to go and hear that something's going on inside me. Yeah. The second one is needle phobia.
I would needle phobia.
People just scared of the needle. They don't want to know. They're just scared. They don't want to be anywhere near needles. They don't like seeing blood, anything like that. And the third one is a conspiracy theory one. It's like, bruv, what are they gonna do with my blood when I give blood? Where is it really going? Like, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get people that ask these questions a lot. And also what you do get a lot as well, because I know someone who works for NHS BT, which is NHS Blood and Transplant. They will say there's a lot of people black people that book their date to give blood, and then they don't turn up. So there's
like they get stage fright.
Yeah, so there's like it could be like a wait 1 to 2 to 3 month gap where they say, okay, we've got this date for you, and it's 2 months down the line. You're like, cool, I'm on it. Closer to the date, yeah. Closer to the date. Dates later. No, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Something could generally come up, but it could be just stage fright.
Yeah.
So these are the 3 reasons that I usually hear a lot from people when it comes to why do you not give blood as a black person, especially knowing that you can help someone like myself out. There's a guy that I know. He messaged me not long ago. Said, "Bruv, I went to give blood and they told me I got a blood type which is called a RO subtype, which is the best blood type for them to give someone who's got sickle cell." I said, "Brother, I need your blood. Keep giving blood, bro." You know what I'm saying? They encouraged him to keep going. And I've heard this with 2 or 3 people that have gone to give blood because of me, and that's you helping someone out. I have so another thing. When I got married, there's a specific tablet I was taking from like the age of 12, very young, which they started in Belgium. Then it came here, called hydroxycarbamate. I was taking it all the time from young, just to keep the sickle levels down. Taking it for like 20 plus years. This specific tablet has a type of chemo in it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it can affect the reproductive system. So I'm getting married now, and I'm like, okay, we know we want to have children one day. I need to slightly start coming off this. So early 2018, I go to the doctors with my wife and I say, all right, I want to start coming off this. And they say, cool, let's see how it goes. Come off it. April, I come off it, 2018. From April to October, back-to-back crisis, back-to-back.
Is it because your body became so used to it?
Yeah, back-to-back crisis, bro. And around October, they're like, it's too much. Like, we need to try and see what we can do. And they said, we're going to put you on regular exchange transfusions. Exchange transfusion is when you go into the hospital, they put a needle on your right arm or on your left arm and on your left arm. They draw blood out of one and they give you blood in the other. So the sickle levels go down with the blood they draw out, and they give you blood, bags of blood into your veins. Yeah, this blood comes from donors, people that give blood. That's where it comes from.
Okay.
So if people didn't give blood, people like myself couldn't have an exchange, or people that just have normal blood transfusions where they just give you blood. Do you know what I'm saying? An exchange is because it's literally an exchange. They're drawing blood out of me, giving me new blood. So from October 2018, I was getting that. And since then, every 6 weeks I'm getting that. I haven't had a crisis since October 2018.
Wow.
So it's been a year and a bit now.
Because I was going to ask you, how much blood do you need to have out of you, or how much new blood do you need to have in order for it to stop? Because surely, if this has got something to do with your blood cells, and you take, say you just said, okay, I'm just going to throw a random number, so hypothetically, let's just say, boom, like 30% of your blood over a period of time had been taken out and replaced with new blood.
Yeah.
Shouldn't that naturally then reduce the crisis? And then I say, if you can somehow get 80 or 90% of your blood out over a period of time and put new blood in it, then doesn't that make it almost slim to none?
Yes, but with blood, it doesn't just... There's the cells, obviously, they I don't know if I can say reproduce, but it's like constantly being renewed, if I could say that. Do you know what I'm saying? So you've got cells that will be there that will constantly be renewed. Yes, the sickle levels go down, but you can't completely just get rid of it like that, because you've got things that are reproducing cells in your body. You know what I'm saying? So when I do get a transfusion, it's, as you said, they get like 30 to 40% of the sickle blood out, like literally getting taken out. My veins are bad, so I get what you call a femoral line. It has to be surgically put in. I go into the surgery room, they numb the groin area, and they put a needle in the groin right next to you've got a main artery in your groin. There's a big vein there as well. So they numb the area, put a needle in the vein, put a long tube in, and then they take the needle out. So the tube's there. They patch up the area, send you back upstairs, and then they do the transfusion through that. It's quick for me. Not quick. It's quicker than my arms because my veins are bad in my arms. So we had to do a femoral line. That will reduce my sickle blood level to 30-40%. And then the blood they give you is the extra 60-70%, which is blood, AA, good blood that comes from donors, people that give blood, which really, that's helped me. I haven't had a crisis in over a year, bro, and that's a great thing for me, bro. From the whole 31 years of my life, that's a very good thing. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's positive to hear, man.
But unfortunately, not everyone can have that.
Yeah.
I know some people that are allergic to other blood. They can't have transfusions. Do you know what I'm saying? Fortunately for me, it works.
Yeah, and also just quickly going back on like the relationship thing, because we didn't get to unpack that so much, but I guess you were saying it's an early conversation to have straight away. The majority of people don't know what they have. Did your wife or girlfriend at the time know?
She knew, yeah. I spoke to her. She asked her mum, because she has an uncle, her mum's brother, who has SS.
Okay.
He's 50 plus, chilled out, doesn't have crisis, hasn't had a crisis in like 20 plus years. So she asked her mum. Her mum said she doesn't have it. And I think my wife did another test. Can't remember, but yeah, she said. And
straight away you said, "Yeah, this is the one marrying that now."
So for me, it's a conversation I had. I as the more I grew up, the more I started being more conscious about what I have, be doing research on it. So I knew the woman I marry is. If I don't care how much I fall in love with you or whatever, if you tell me you're AS, I got to bounce.
Yeah,
it's that serious. Because remember, you said that it must have started from one person. Slept with one person, went down generations, whatever. We can actually start cancelling that.
Yes, that's for real.
Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, getting with someone who's got AA, we have a child who's got, by God's grace, AA, no AS or nothing. They get with someone who's got AA. Down the line, that's it. Yeah. So we can actually if I could say, we have the power to actually end it.
Bro, what an interesting thing, boy. So the only thing really that well, I mean, I shouldn't say the only thing, but the big thing that people can do to help is essentially give blood. What is the means of even doing that? Like, how do you even go and just give blood like that?
Literally, you could go online and say how to give blood or where to give blood, but main website is blood.co.uk.
Yeah.
They have a sheet there where you could fill it in, and they'll find your local donation centre.
Yeah.
Go and they'll give you a date. They'll give you a date and they'll go. When you go, I think they check your blood.
Yeah.
So for some people, like my sister-in-law, she wanted to go and give blood, but they said your iron levels are very low at the moment. So obviously that would affect your blood. So she's had to wait.
Okay.
Same with my wife as well. She had to wait for her iron levels to get higher a bit so she can go and give blood. So it's very easy, man. And I think if you're a black person or a white person or whatever colour you are and you live in London, 9 times out of 10, out of 5 black people there'll be one person that has either sickle cell or the trait. So if you know how close to home it is, you can do something to help. Go and give blood. Watch who you're sleeping around with.
Yeah, I hear that.
Watch who you're getting with. You know what I'm saying? Watch who you're getting with.
There's a whole bag of exchange of energies going on. And
exactly.
With that, there's like...
Exactly. Not just that,
I've been guilty of it. Obviously, I can't lie, but... Yeah, man have to be a bit more mindful of
it's not just the energies, it's the in semen, bro.
Yeah, it's true, of course.
It's the exchange of semen, there's blood. So with that, all of a sudden, boom, there's a baby there, you're hearing the baby's got sickle cell. What's that? Do you have it? Yeah, I did. I didn't. I don't know. Mum, do I have it? Dad, do you know what I'm saying? And then next thing you know, there's a child here that didn't ask for that. And then, do you know what I'm saying? I used to resent my parents, bruv.
For real.
In times of crisis, like, I'm in pain. Why would they do that? Why did they not talk? Why, you know what I'm saying? I'm grateful for my life, but I used to resent my parents. Now I've grown up and understood that they were young, didn't discuss it and things like that. But how can we change the narrative now? Discuss it, talk about it. For those who have sickle cell, talk. For those who don't, you could even have it and you don't know. You could have, if you had sickle cell full blown, you would know. But you could have the trait and you just don't know. Talk about it. Mind who you're getting with. Get checked up. Go and check up your genotype and talk about it. If it's something that's affecting our people, it's something we should be passionate about.
I hear you, bro. Thanks for coming and sharing some information with me. I saw a video last year. I think, of a girl that was in a hospital. I remember this, like, some people have been posting it around a bit, and she had sickle cell and she was going through a crisis. And there was like a video just of her. She was on the bed and the video was being recorded from just behind her or whatever. And it was like she was giving birth, bro.
Yeah.
She was screaming and screaming and screaming. And that rang extra alarm bells to me because I'm like, I hear about this thing, but I don't really know the full implications of how this happened, why it happens, and what we could really do. You just hear a little bit about, okay, yeah, just give blood and stuff, but a lot of us don't particularly know why. We just know it's a good thing to do. But yeah, like hearing this is definitely done something. So yeah, bro, you got an album coming out anyway.
Yes,
I know that.
my debut album, Born and Raised, out March 6th.
Listen, and let's not ever get this twisted, you know, because you are a barras as well. Let me try and see if I can grab something quickly. There was one tune that you had as well called was it 2016? Yeah, that's it. What is it? 2016.
So there's 2016 I did with my boy Governor B.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one. You and Governor.
Yeah.
Bro, let me see if I can grab this thing quickly, bro, just in case people are just not necessarily. Right. Is it on Spotify? 201.
Nah, because
have you got any of the 201?
I don't have them on Spotify because 2016 and 7 were Dot Rotten Productions.
Okay.
So I was speaking to Dot, and yeah, me and him are trying to figure it out for me to put on Spotify.
Are you and him good? Yeah.
Yeah. I hear that. So for me, when Dot's having war, I don't DM him, you know. I wait for everything to calm down. I wait for everything to calm down. I'm like, yo, bro, I want to put this on Spotify. So last time I spoke to him in a DM, he said it's cool. Just got to sort out royalties and things like that, and then it's calm. I'm definitely gonna throw him on Spotify.
I see it, bro. I pay attention.
Man. Thank you, man.
To a lot of things.
I
pay attention to a lot of things. My ear is not just where the gas is.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a fan of this thing, bro. Seriously.
Love.
I'm always trying to find good shit that people are not particularly listening to. Even people might be listening to, but I'm always trying to find good stuff. I've known about you for a long time. I don't hear much from you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just pop up here and there from what it seems like, unless I'm missing something.
Yeah.
You just pop up here and there.
Yeah. In the last few years, obviously marriage and everything's taken. You know, it's been a priority. But with music, I'm probably trying to be serious. My debut album, Born and Raised, out March 6th.
Okay.
Got a lot of personal tracks on there, man. A lot of personal. I like to just talk about real life. I don't feel like especially as men. That's another thing why we started 525 podcast for men, not just married men, but men to come together and talk. We don't do that enough. So
I'm telling you,
on my album, that's definitely something that. So I've got some personal songs in there that I think people can relate to. Definitely.
And honourable shout out to the wifey for holding you down.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And big shout out to Mumsy. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Married now. You get what I'm saying? Real. It's good.
For real.
Yeah, man, bro. Thank you for coming through.
Thanks
bro. I appreciate it, bro. And what's the name of your podcast, bro?
525. So 5 and then 20 is with the 2 instead of a T, and then 5. We're on Spotify, all the good stuff. And my album will be out all online stores as well, March 6th.
Alright, cool. And I just want to say this with love as well, yeah. Like, this is not a platform where I just have people coming up here just promoting all kinds of stuff and that. I get emails all of the time, which I'm very grateful for.
Yeah.
But like, this is just not just a promo thing like that. I'm just trying to have conversations with people that I gravitate to, or having conversations about things that I want to have conversations about. It's not like an everyday bring a guest here and you tell me about your album.
Yeah, I listen all the time, bro. I watch all the time, and from the first episode with Jamie. Yeah, Jamie's another person that I met recently.
Is it? Yeah, that's my guy, man. I could record with him once a week easily. Yeah.
So from when I heard the first episode of Jamie, I've been locked in, and I know it's just been real conversations you have here, not just any convos, but real convos that are life changing, bro. Thank you.
And also on top of that, sometimes we have conversations that some people don't really like, and we have some conversations that people feel like we're not. Like recently, we got like a little bit of some stick because they felt like we didn't discuss the Wretch 3-2 and Scorcher thing.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's funny that because I was at Nike today and someone came to me and he was saying to me, "Oh, like I'm a fan of the podcast or whatever, but like I was quite disappointed at the way that you guys talked about it." And I asked him why, and he was telling me why. And what I was trying to explain to him was that there's like sometimes there are certain things where I'm super limited on information, and it could be super sensitive, and I think it's still important to bring it up and discuss, however, sometimes I will come and I'll be like, sometimes you can look at things as like, we could be here and we could be talking about something and proper gassing it up or whatever and gaslighting it, and someone could end up going and doing a madness or whatnot. I'm never really bothered about that. I'm never really bothered about whether, in a situation where like let's say in the context of Scorcher and Wretch is with Scorcher's baby mum and Scorcher up, we might be here saying, "Rah, like how could you have that," and whatever, and Scorcher go and do whatever he goes and does off the back of that, if he ever did that, which I don't think he would. But in my mind, it's not about that. It's just about whether I could look at myself in the mirror and be comfortable enough knowing that if I speak about something in this way, regardless of how anyone acts, am I comfortable with that? And sometimes I'm just not. Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I might be. Sometimes we might come here and we might just be a little bit reckless. But there was one time in particular, bro. We sat here and we gave Rita Ora an absolute battering, bro. Fam. Oh my God. We gave Rita Ora such a battering. And in my soul, when I left, that one didn't feel good.
Right.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like, that one didn't feel good. Sometimes,
Did it go up?
Yeah, it went up.
Okay.
Yeah, it went up still. It went up still because we recorded it and it was a long episode. There was nothing I could do about it. But essentially, I just say all of that to say, like, the tough conversations, there's times where I prefer to have it with the person as opposed to having it with them not being there. Yeah. And there'll be the occasional time where, you know what, that one there, if it makes me a hypocrite or like I'm contradicting myself in times where I've done it and haven't done it, those times I'm more comfortable with doing it. Yeah. These times, there's other times where it's just like, I don't know about this one, man.
Yeah, you got to move with wisdom, man. I know that's something you wouldn't be afraid of asking Wretch to his face.
Oh, definitely not.
But whether you would do it or not, that's your own choice.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? But never feel pressured by other people to kind of do the content they want you to do. Yeah. This is your vision, bro. This is something that, God's put in your heart to do, and you're doing it and it's doing well. You know what I'm saying? You can never not do anything in this world and not please people. So,
and you're right, bro. That's another thing. Is like today, after I had the conversation with that guy, it was a real good conversation. But I remember just thinking to myself afterwards that I can't always give people what they want.
For real.
Do you get me? I can't always do it at the expense of how I feel about something. That doesn't mean that, that doesn't even mean that there's a conversation that won't be had.
Yeah.
Because maybe it will be had. And maybe that conversation will be with that person. Do you get me? But, so there's just there's just the occasional situations where you're like, let me just wait like everyone else. Let me wait like everyone else to see how this pans out first. Let me see if there's more information that comes out and then let's discuss this, as opposed to like getting little nuggets here and there.
Yeah.
And another thing about me, bro, is when certain things happen in the scene and that, I'm not a man who rings around, man, and starts asking for information. Give me the inside scoop.
Yeah, it's what
Let me get the inside scoop so I can come here and.
Yeah.
But I don't do that, I think the misconception sometimes is that because a lot of people know me and I know a lot of people, that I'm just super cool with everyone. Yeah. And when some shit happens, these man ring me like TMZ and that.
People think you're DJ Academics. That's what they want you to be, bro.
I'm not even. That's not my thing. If you when
they
something
want you to
happens,
be a Chuckademics, bro.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what they
exactly.
want you to be, bro.
Chuckademic. When certain things happen, it's just like my close friends or like people that are around me, like, will ring me and be like, right, you hear about X, Y, and Z? Enough times in the WhatsApp group, I see bare man talking about it, but I just won't even interject. I'll just leave it and just watch stuff. I'm not a man who just rings around for the inside scoop so I can come here and start spilling off the beans. Some of the beans, that were spilt, like, over the last couple of days, bro, was this absolute... I just couldn't come and just spill a man's private beans without a man... You know what I mean?
Yeah, for real. Bro, keep doing your thing, man. You're not academics, you're Chucky, bro.
Chucky,
and the reason why people watch Halfcast podcasts and listen to it is because it's authentic and it's real. Like, if there's something you don't want to talk about, don't talk about it, man. Don't feel pressured by society, bro. Society is here one day and it's here the other day. There's never any stability in society. This whole Twitter world thing it's all a facade, bruv.
Yeah.
Right now, it's whole Love Island thing. So someone might gas you to talk about someone on Love Island. You don't want to talk about that. Yeah, but then Love Island's finished in a few weeks, and then there's another discussion. So you got to stick to what you're doing, man.
Because it's all out there, and a lot of it is just private. It's like a lot of it is some stuff that we've gone through ourselves, and like that. I love doing that. You know, like when I've been through something for myself, or like I've seen something, and I'm like, I know that. Yeah. When you talk about it, it makes good discussion, but other times I won't make a big deal out of thing. Even fucking Drake had a baby with a stripper. We didn't do a big episode about Drake having a baby with a stripper. Yeah. We just had a conversation about what Pusha T said about Drake, right? And we just discussed it. But bro, love and guidance to you, bro.
Same,
Proper
bro.
appreciate you coming, man.
Appreciate
Very good conversation.
Thank you, man.
And all the best with the album and that, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Loved you. Thanks for listening, everyone.